For some reason, my husband treats my second son coldly. As a result, cracks began to appear in my happy marriage. My husband hates my second son because he doesn't look like him, and he suspects that I'm cheating on him. So I would suggest DNA testing, but my husband adamantly refuses. Feeling uncomfortable with his attitude, I took my own initiative and conducted a DNA test on my second son. What I discovered there was something that made me believe my eyes. My name is Adele, I'm 35 years old, a part-time housewife who supports my family while working as a full-time employee. My husband Nigel has been married for almost 10 years. We hit it off at a blind date and got married in no time. We have 3 children. They are my eldest son, Keith, my second son, Raymond, and my youngest child, Clarissa. My husband was overjoyed from the bottom of his heart every time I got pregnant. Especially when he found out that the third person, Clarissa, was a girl, he cried with joy. Although it is physically and financially difficult to raise 3 children, I am truly blessed to have cute children. It's all thanks to these children who grew up so well. I would like to say that I couldn't be more blessed, but there is one thing that bothers me. That is my husband's attitude towards his second son. He is a really kind and good father to his eldest son Keith and youngest son Clarissa, but for some reason he is cold towards his second son Raymond. Something like this happened recently. My family of 5 goes to the park, but my husband only wants to play with Keith and Clarissa. When Raymond tried to join in, her husband said coldly, "Raymond, you should go play with your mother." Huh? I want to play here with my dads too. Enough already. Dad's got his hands full dealing with Keith and Clarissa. Get it? Raymond looked like he was about to cry at my husband's words. I couldn't stay anymore, so I approached my husband. "Hey, hold on, what are you saying? Isn't Raymond pitiful?" "If that's what you think, why don't you play Raymond's partner?" "That's fine, but Raymond wants to hang out with you." "I told you, right? I have my hands full with Keith and Clarissa. I can't take care of all 3 of them at once." "That's not why you say it like that, right? Look at Raymond. He's about to cry." Sigh, that's too loud. "Anyway, he's not my child. Please don't let him come near me, I asked you." "He's not my child? What's that supposed to mean? I can't believe you'd say such a thing. Even though Raymond is still the child I bore through all that pain, why are you being so cold to him?" Looking back, there have been many things that have concerned me over the past few years. My husband came home on time for Keith and Clarissa's birthdays, but worked overtime on Raymond's birthday. Even on family trips, Raymond was always left alone. The more I think about it, the colder my husband's attitude toward Raymond becomes. Then Raymond spoke to me. "Hey Mom, I wonder if Dad doesn't like me." Why? Why do you think that?" "Because my father is kind to my brother and Clarissa, but he's tough on me." "I see. That's what Raymond thought too. You don't like it, do you? Raymond, you love your father." "Yes, I want to play with my father like my brothers." "I understand. I'll make sure I tell your dad." I can't believe he made my young son feel like this. As a mother, I felt inadequate. When the children were asleep, I started talking to my husband. "Nigel, can I ask you a question? I'm talking about Raymond." "Enough about Raymond. Um, that's not enough. Raymond, he said to me again today, right? Does father hate me as a parent? Aren't you embarrassed to let your child say things like that? It's not that I don't particularly like him. It's just that I don't think he's as cute as Keith or Clarissa. What's that? Why? All three of you aren't our beautiful children. You don't understand. Anyway, I'll leave Raymond to you, so don't let me get involved anymore. My husband opened the door with great force and ran out of the room. I was left alone in the room, tears streaming down my face. Why? Why do you say such terrible things? Raymond is just a nice kid. What's the difference between Keith and Clarissa? Despite my efforts to address it, my husband's attitude remains unchanged, and he refuses to engage with our second son, no matter how much I try. On the other hand, he started doting more and more on his eldest son and daughter, and the difference between them was clear. Since then, I have started to mistrust my husband. One day, I met up with a good friend of my girlfriend's for the first time in a while, and I couldn't help but complain about my husband. Then she awkwardly opens her mouth. I can't say for sure, but maybe Nigel suspects Adele is cheating. Cheating? I know I'm saying this, but compared to Keith and Clarissa, Raymond doesn't look much like them, does he? That's why he doesn't think he's his child. That's it. I gave birth to all three babies with equal pain in my stomach. Even Nigel was present at the birth. But I can't think of any other reason not to love Raymond. She's right that Raymond looks less like me and my husband than the other two. Is that why he changed your attitude? As far as I'm concerned, I can't understand it at all. However, for the sake of my second son, I can't leave things like this. I decided to have another talk with my husband at a later date. Hey Nigel, I'm talking about Raymond. Again? So let's talk about that already. Maybe you suspect me of cheating. What? Don't you think Raymond is someone else's child because he doesn't look like us? And no, it's not like that. Then what do you mean? Why are you only cold towards Raymond? No matter how you think about it, it's strange. I don't have any deep meaning. Enough already. You don't have any deep meaning to this. Do you realize how much pain Raymond must be going through with your whims? As a father, take more responsibility. When I said this strongly, my husband looked down and fell silent. If this continues, the truth will not be revealed. Having made that decision, I decided to take the last resort. Okay, if you're going to say that much, let's do a DNA test. Huh? What did you say? I mean, it can't be helped, right? You just say things like he's not my child or don't let him come near me. I feel bad for Raymond if things continue like this. That's why DNA testing is such an exaggeration. So what? What should we do? Unless you can prove for sure that Raymond is our biological son, you're going to keep acting like that for the rest of your life, right? Oh, that's enough. I'll take care of the appraisal. As I was about to leave my room, my husband yelled from behind me, "Wait." He grabbed my arm as tightly as he could and told me in a low voice, "Okay? Just don't do a DNA test." I was stunned for a moment by the demon's features, which I had never seen before. But even I can't give up here. I put all my strength into my trembling legs and looked straight at him. In that case, treat Raymond as usual. If you can't do that, I will force a DNA test. Come on. There's no point in doing that. Isn't it because you treat Raymond like that? I wouldn't want to do something like this if I could help it. Calm down. There's no point in doing that. Noisy. I don't want to see Raymond looking lonely anymore. Anyway, if I don't see any improvement in you, I'll have an appraisal done right away. I shook off my arm and left the room with footsteps. My advice seemed to work, and my husband started talking to Raymond more than before. Raymond's smile gradually increased, and I felt relieved too. One day, the 5 of us went out to dinner. As we were each thinking about the menu, Raymond spoke up. Hey, what are you going to order, Dad? Huh? I think Dad should make some hamburgers. Then I'll make a hamburger too. What? I like the same food as my father. I couldn't tell you until now. Seeing Raymond smile, I couldn't help but smile myself. But my husband was different. There's no way we like the same thing. He's not even my child. Raymond's body trembled as he heard my husband's insults. Dad. Don't call me Dad. Stop it. Why? Did I do something? I'll go home first. Adele, please take care of the children. My husband quietly got up and left the restaurant alone. The children must have noticed something too. The meal that followed was completely in funeral mode. How could my husband's selfish actions make even the children feel so dark? I was also at the limit of my patience. That evening, I forcibly grabbed my husband and set up a time to talk. Hey, what's with that attitude today? How do you think Raymond feels? That was bad. If you're going to apologize, apologize to Raymond. Seriously, why would you do something like that? There's no helping it, right? He's not my child. Just leave it alone already. At that moment, my patience finally snapped. All 3 of them are still our children. But how dare you say such a thing? When this happens, there's no time to hesitate anymore. For Raymond's sake, I need to do something about this situation as soon as possible. The next day, I took the day off from work and left my children at my parents' house. Then go to a related facility and request a DNA test. I told my parents about the situation and decided to stay at my parents' house until the results were out. That night, I received a call from my breathless husband right away. Hey Adele, where are you? My parents' house. Me and the kids will be staying here for a while. Huh, why all of a sudden? To prevent our children from suffering any further, you know what you need to do. It's your turn now. It is. Just don't call me for a while until I call you. Well, bye. Hey. I ignored my husband's attempt to say something and hung up the phone. My parents were also worried, but now I have no choice but to wait. A few days later, an unexpected fact was discovered. I locked myself in my room and opened the DNA test envelope. My heart was beating so loud it felt like it was going to jump out of my mouth. When I saw the results, I couldn't believe my eyes. That's a lie, right? As a result of the DNA test, Raymond was not related to us in any way. He was neither my husband's child nor mine. What on earth does that mean? There's no way he's not my child. Indeed, Raymond is the child I bore, enduring labor pains that day. However, the diagnosis cannot be a lie. The name written is also correct. I was so shocked that my mind went blank. For the time being, leaving the children at my parents' house, I decided to return to my husband's side. I presents him with the diagnosis results and questions him mercilessly. What does this mean? Oh, Adele, no way. These are the results of the DNA test you've been refusing for so long. Please explain what they mean. You know something, right? Oh, that's it. My husband's eyes widen and he remains silent. I was deeply angry at him for refusing to face the facts for this long period of time. Come on, I don't know what you're hiding, but the results are already out. This has something to do with why you've been so cold to Raymond, right? No, that. If you don't say it clearly, I'll have you go to the obstetrics and gynecology department where Raymond was born and get it checked out. If necessary, I'll call the police. If that doesn't bother you, why don't you just stay silent like that for the rest of your life? Raising my voice, my husband seemed to relent and muttered, I understand. Then he told a shocking truth. Raymond is not our child. He is the child of someone I had an affair with. Huh? The kid you're cheating on with. Ah, the woman I met around the time you gave birth. Wait a minute. Isn't that strange? I was discharged from the hospital on schedule after giving birth to Raymond. There's no way that's possible. I met you at the obstetrics and gynecology department. She gave birth on the same day as you, and she's pregnant. What? When I asked him for more details, my husband's explanation was as follows. I was hospitalized at 9 months pregnant because I was told I was at risk of premature birth. My husband also came to visit Mr. frequently, and it seems that the person he met there was the person he was having an affair with. Moreover, the other person is the daughter of the director of the obstetrics and gynecology clinic. The chairman's daughter, who is pregnant with another man's child, falls in love at first sight with my husband, who comes to see her. Apparently, her parents were forced to meet her in order to give birth to her heir. Perhaps it's because she's pregnant with a child with someone she doesn't love, and her infidelity heats up. In this particular situation, my husband and she became affectionate when no one was watching. Rather, it would be more accurate to say that they became that kind of relationship when they realized it when she approached him aggressively. Then she gives birth to her arranged partner's child on the same day as me. What about her there? This is what she told my husband. I absolutely want to raise your child. If you don't listen to me, I'll spill the beans to your wife. Swap your wife's child with mine. The point is blackmail. Having just given birth, he couldn't possibly bring up the fact of his infidelity, so in the end, my husband gave in to her outrageous demand. As a result, our biological child was replaced in the hospital as her child, and her child, Raymond, as our child. Without knowing anything about it, I was discharged from the hospital with the child I had been having an affair with. After telling me everything, my husband complained in tears. I'm so sorry, I kept trying to tell you the truth. But when it came down to it, I just couldn't. Is that why you were so cold to Raymond? I used to try hard too, but as I grew up, I couldn't stand seeing Raymond start to look like her. That's an unbelievable reason. I was in pain too. Adele has no idea how I feel. There's no way I understand you. You can't be so selfish. I was just yelling. Even in a situation like this, how can you not admit your fault and play the role of the victim? An indescribable anger welled up in him. You've got to be kidding me. I was in pain too. What do you know about in pain? Raymond has suffered many times more because of your selfish actions. And yet, you're acting like some tragic heroine. It can't be helped, right? There's nothing I can do. It's probably because you were the one who cheated in the first place. You're trying to make the other woman do what you want. Who is our real child? How does Raymond feel? What on earth will happen? Oh, that's it. I've completely run out of patience with you. You have no right to raise any of them anymore. I'll take full responsibility for all three. I won't let them see you again. And you won't dare call yourself their father. Live with your mistakes and carry that burden to the end. You worthless excuse for a man. I spat this out to my husband and left the house, ignoring his attempts to stop me. I later decided to consult a lawyer and proceed with divorcing him as soon as possible. Based on the fact that my husband admitted to cheating on me and the results of a DNA test, the divorce was finalized with him being at fault. I also tracked down a woman who had an affair with my husband and demanded compensation. The only thing that made me sad was that my biological child, who she was supposed to be raising, was living in a facility due to her abandonment. However, I can't take the child back now. It may seem cruel, but Raymond is now my child. I haven't seen my ex-husband since then. I also received custody of the children, and the four of us now live at home. Fortunately, I have a job, so I'm getting by, but I'll probably run into various obstacles in the future. Still, I don't want to regret this choice. For Raymond, who ended up coming to me, I will never let him feel sad again. As my biological child, I will continue to shower my love on him without any discrimination.